How are we doing so far, guys? All right. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce to you, coming through the door in just a sec after she's done. There we go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the man who is probably could be up at the top of the 2020 Democratic ticket. He has one of the biggest heads in Burbank and in show business. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Duncan.
Oh my God. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Woo. I heard a woo. I heard a maybe. Wow. Thanks. 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 I'm a big believer in gratitude. That's ingratitude, not ingratitude. My name is Joe Duncan, and I am the only Democrat in the country not running for president. You're welcome. Thank you. If not elected, I'm not going to do shit. So I think we're off to a good start here. I don't know if you heard the news, but President Trump continues to insist that Hurricane Dorian was a threat to Alabama, despite repeated reports to the contrary. But Alabama was never worried. In fact, a spokesman said, everyone knows our only real threat this season is Clemson. Oh, in royal family news, this is so cute. 4-year-old Princess Charlotte attended her first day of school. Isn't that nice? Yeah, it's very sweet. It was so adorable. For show and tell, she showed them Scotland. That must be nice. Dragging Scotland off to school. According to the Wall Street Journal, 1/3 of college-age women lie about being on birth control. On the other hand, 100% of college-age men lie about being allergic to latex. The things we learn in college. According to the LA Times, in California, the black market is 4 times larger than the legal marijuana market, which also explains why married men are 4 times more likely to solicit a prostitute than have an affair. It's just more fun when it's illegal. I don't think that last part was in the LA Times. But they've really gone downhill, haven't they? Oh, on Friday, non-binary singer Sam Smith announced to the world that he'd like to be referred to as they and them. So I would like to take this opportunity right now in front of all of you folks to announce that as a non-funny host, I'd like to be referred to as trying and serviceable. I'd appreciate it. I would appreciate it. CNN is reporting that the world's largest Starbucks is opening in Chicago. It's so big, it's going to have its own Starbucks inside. That's pretty big. Because when you're in line at Starbucks, it'd be nice to get a coffee. I think that's the idea. Oh, this is a wild story. A 72-year-old Indian woman recently gave birth to twin daughters fathered by her 82-year-old husband. How about that? In fact, it's believed to be the first ever baby shower where the guests brought diapers for the parents as well. On Thursday, President Trump said that energy-efficient light bulbs make him look orange. Did you hear this? There's such a perception problem going on with the president. There's all kinds of things. There's light bulbs make him look orange, and pictures make him look heavy, and facts make him look guilty. I don't know what it is about this president. Oh, in a recent Vulture interview, director Joel Schumacher said he's had up to 20,000 sexual partners. Yeah. Yeah, the Batman Forever director will be the subject of an upcoming biopic called Herpes Forever. Oh, this was crazy. During Thursday's Democratic presidential debate, did you see that with the other 90,000 people running for president? Joe Biden, 76-year-old Joe Biden, God bless him, used a few vintage phrases. I think that's a fair way of putting it. That left people confused. For example, when he referred to a record player, younger voters thought he was talking about that director who slept with 20,000 people. And finally tonight, UK news site The Independent is reporting that a man was jailed for putting spy cameras in studio toilets where they're making the new James Bond film. Yeah, apparently he got video of people going 001 and 002. We have terrific show tonight. Say hi to Barry. Hi, Barry.
Hi, Joe.
How's it going, Barry?
It's going good. Getting ready for vacation.
Oh, really? Where are you going?
Mexico.
Oh, I thought you were getting shoulder surgery.
That's November.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to the Percocet though.
that's a vacation.
Yes, that's.
You know, I wouldn't go to that much trouble if I were you. You can get Percocet without getting surgery.
Well, I also can get Percocet in Mexico, so it all comes together.
So it's kind of like a Percocet themed vacation you're going on.
It is. I've got to see what the PPO says first.
Of course.
Yes.
No, you got to do it right. Save money.
Yes.
We have exciting news right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have our very first, we have a sponsor here for a live read. I actually have a live read tonight. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Legal Doom. This show is brought to you by a new sponsor, Legal Doom, the only professional legal services with a stark pessimism that reflects reality. Let's face it, the majority of lawsuits are going to be lost or at best settled. Why use legal services that make you think you're going to win your case only to be let down? We've all been there, haven't we? Absolutely. That's terrible. With Legal Doom, we don't give false hope. When you hire the experts at Legal Doom, you come in for a one-time consultation. You'll lay out the details of your case, and Legal Doom staff will scribble furiously on yellow pads and chew their pencils like they're taking it all in. But really, they're drawing doodles of your face. Not because they're disrespectful, but because it really doesn't matter what goes on those legal pads. And let's be honest, faces are fun to doodle. At Legal Doom, they know that no matter who you are, the nameless, faceless corporations out there are gonna beat you down. So they're gonna go through a precise timeline of when it's gonna hurt and where. They won't sugarcoat it. They'll file all the paperwork, meet all the deadlines, and deliver the news on your losing lawsuit on time, every time. Legal Doom, you're gonna lose the case. Let them handle the paperwork.
Beautiful.
Boy, that was kind of a downer, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe we could get a sponsor that isn't a downer next time.
we'll try.
Okay.
We do what we can.
I love chatting with you, Barry.
I love chatting with you. How are you doing?
Oh, swell. Doing great. You look like you're doing well too. Are those new horizontal stripes?
They are brand new JCPenney's finest.
Okay, well, sure. Save a buck, do it right.
That's right.
This is big news. I don't know if you heard about next weekend, something called alien stock. It's like Woodstock, but for aliens. This apparently is a thing. At Area 51 out in the desert, people from all over the country are going to descend on that area for alien stock. It's a place for conspiracy theorists to find out once and for all whether or not aliens landed there a long time ago. And in fact, we have an alien on the phone right now. Can you hear us? What is your name? What should we call you?
My shortened Earth name is Julie.
Julie. What is that short for?
It's short for Julia.
Oh. That makes sense. So you do speak English?
Yes.
Okay.
Earth English is my 47th language.
So, 47 languages, that's a lot.
Earthlings could do it too, but you're spending too much time playing Fortnite.
Oh, come on. Don't aliens play video games for entertainment?
Manipulating humans is our entertainment.
Oh, okay. So what are you doing on our little planet here?
Earth to us is what Las Vegas is to you, a
Oh.
giant tourist attraction.
I see.
You know what they say, what happens on Earth stays on Earth.
Mm.
And I like your Barry Manilow.
It's funny. How did you know that's what I called it? So are you saying aliens have been living among us for all these years? How have you been able to keep it a secret?
It wasn't that hard. First, we landed in Hollywood, and it's there where we learned how to blend in with humans so we would look inconspicuous.
I see. You know, we on Earth assume that you're all tall, skinny, bug-eyed beings. How do you tell each other apart?
That's funny. I could ask you the same question.
Well, okay. So tell me, why would you end up in Nevada? It's over 100 degrees there.
I know it's cold, but that means less humans around.
Oh, you don't like people?
Well, like Omega Z recommends, sometimes you just need a little me time. The spa, a glass of wine, a plate of Spam.
You eat Spam?
Nobody eats Spam. It's a facial. It's also a gas treatment and a floor wax.
Okay, well, you learn a lot talking to aliens, don't you? So how long will you be staying on our little planet?
Oh, not much longer. There are many irreversible problems here.
Oh, you mean like the melting glaciers, huh?
Yes, but the bigger concern is the shortage of precious resources.
Oh, you mean like clean air and clean water?
No, the shortage of Popeye's chicken sandwiches.
Gotcha. Thank you, Julie. We'll check back in later. That's Julie the alien, everybody. Thank you very much. And our first guest tonight is an author. He is a professional Star Wars fan. I think that's a fair way of describing him. His new book, Why We Love Star Wars, is available everywhere you buy books. Please welcome Ken Napzok, everyone. Oh yeah, thanks for coming out. Can you take that?
Thanks for having me,
Hey,
Joe.
Hot, that working?
Yeah. Hey, Barry.
Oh, you two know each other.
We
That's
do.
right. How do you guys know each other again?
We met in the wild worlds of professional wrestling, and in 2002, I hit him in the head with a cardboard dreidel.
Yeah, Hanukkah is never the same again.
Wait. You've been wait. You're not wrestlers, right?
I've wrestled some matches, but we both
Yeah.
managed a lot of wrestlers for a lot of local SoCal feds.
Because in that world, even the managers fight with each other sometimes.
Well, do you
Yeah.
not want to fight with Barry? Look at that face.
Ooh, yeah.
But still, I mean, he's the chosen people.
B.S. Cohen. That's my.
There was definitely subtext to wrestling that day.
I would think so. That's a new one, a giant dreidel.
Yeah.
I can't imagine like Vince McMahon getting out there or any of those people getting beat up with a giant dreidel. So you're
He's-
one up on them. That's very
yeah,
inventive.
or he stoops lower. We'll figure that out.
Well, I'm glad you're both okay. Now, you are I would say a giant Star Wars fanatic. This is a very dense book. There's a lot going on here, and this is more than just a fan talking about all the stuff he likes in Star Wars. What is the deeper stuff going on in this book here?
This book came out of last few years of my career. I've been talking Star Wars professionally and just kind of the love of Star Wars that obviously started for me back in the late 70s. I was in a drive-in theater 1 year of age when the first one came out. Don't remember that, but it kind of soaked into my blood. And it's just about my journey, but it's also a shared journey with several different generations of fans, with Disney bringing Star Wars back and the way they have the big scale with them targeting a lot of different new fans and generations. It's just my love letter to this franchise.
Well, talk a little about your journey. What is this? It sounds like a very personal journey that you've had with the years of these films. What is your journey been?
George Lucas did such a great job of writing these films, the modern myth, the Joseph Campbell stuff that we're all familiar with. But his ultimate goal with Star Wars was to write a serial adventure for himself. He was a big Flash Gordon fan, but also a modern myth for the kids. And he always says Star Wars is for kids, but he doesn't necessarily mean, 5-year-olds running around. He specifically targets the 12-year-old age bracket of a young kid going to adulthood, and he wants to give them morality lessons of this or that. And so if it strikes you in some way, and some people aren't Star Wars fans, some people are casual fans, but if it gets into your heart at a young age and you start picking up on all the modern myth stuff there, it kind of is this friend in life. And I grew up in a time where, now I have a career out of being a nerd, but back then nerd meant a different thing.
Oh yeah, nerds are in. It's the non-nerds who are out.
Yeah,
We're the ones that people make fun of now.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't get all the stuff.
It's the imbalance of the world.
Totally. Now, what is it about Star Wars that actually has such a hold on us, and why is this different from all the comic book movies we see, the Marvel stuff and all that? What is it about this whole saga that grabs us in a way that the others don't?
I think it's timeless, and the MCU is doing a great job, and it's timeless in its own way now. But it's going back to that modern myth thing, so it grows with you. Some of the later stuff has been just as much about growing older as it has been growing up, which has been pretty powerful for some people. And I think, again, like I said, it's in your blood. It travels with you. You learn from it. You take joy from it. And it's not just about collecting the storage shed of toys I have outside my house that now don't really mean anything of value. They're just there.
Those toys don't have value?
Not as much anymore. The boom of the Kenner toys in the late 80s caught a lot of people off guard. So now it's more just emotional grabbing of trinkets, which is powerful in its own right, because that's what you take off the screen with you and take it home. I think that's one of the reasons Star Wars grew. You could play in your backyard with your friends, but it also means there's as we've moved on, much like with baseball cards in the late 80s, by 90s it was like, oh, we're going to print 10,000 of these, when in 51 there was 40 Mickey Mantle rookies going around, so the value isn't as much as
So, yeah, well, wasn't that part of the genius of George Lucas? Did he, in his initial deal, wasn't it? I'll take the deferred salary if I can get all the marketing rights.
There's a lot of layers to it, and in short, you're absolutely right. He saw that. There was Fox, 20th Century Fox at the time. Other than Alan Ladd Jr., no one really fully believed in
He
this.
got rejected from every studio in town.
A lot of studios.
Nobody wanted to make Star Wars.
A lot of studios did that, and then when they kind of went back after Alan Ladd Jr. and following some of the budget problems with Empire Strikes Back, that's why he took Indiana Jones to Paramount with Steven Spielberg. So George holds grudges. That's what we know. But yeah, in that Kenner too. Kenner was this little toy company out of Cincinnati, and a lot of bigger companies turned them down too. So it all was meant to happen. It was the force, if you will.
Okay, it's out there. I think it brought the parrots over here tonight. What now? Yeah, this is for Lucas says he's aiming for 12-year-olds, young people who are just entering adulthood, and yet people of all ages are still captivated by this. Now, how is that possible? What is the takeaway that adults have and that little kids can also get?
There's a balance now, and we're starting to see it more with some of the newer films where the older audiences love to swim in the nostalgia of it, which is powerful, but also forget what the films are at their core, which is again for the youth. So I think it's it's fun to take it with you all your life, but also don't forget that it's also about the generation coming up from behind you. There's a lot of gatekeeping in fandoms now, which is really depressing and disappointing.
Let's talk about that right now, actually, because you were saying that part of the problem with as these things get bigger and bigger, and especially in the digital age where everyone has an opinion and feels the urge to share it constantly. Yeah. There's a lot of animosity among various factions of fans online. Like, how ugly does it get among people talking about Star Wars?
Specifically with Star Wars, it's really ugly over the last couple of years.
What's the fight about? What are they so about?
It started to grow with just the fact that it came back in 2012. George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney. That had most people happy, had a lot of people already dubious, and then the films come out, and then they don't like a female lead, or they don't like the diversity in the cast, or they don't like the decisions. And part of it is beyond that. I always say this: it is expectations. Episode 7 came out in 2015. J.J. Abrams, directs Lawrence Kasdan and his and Michael Arndt's script, but really, we started prepping that in 1983 when Return of the Jedi came out. So we're talking generations and decades of expectations, and when it doesn't happen, we see that with TV show nows where series finales or season finales don't live up to our expectations, and that's fine because that can happen. But now, because we have that voice, and everyone here probably has a podcast, and God bless you, I do too. Now it's become this competitive, anger-fueled, I'm right, my opinion's right, and it's kind of disappointing, especially with Star Wars, which is not about that.
Now, how do we get away from that? Because we've turned into pretty angry culture, and we didn't used to be this way. Is there a way to steer the ship back?
I think we launch some people to Mars, and maybe we're on those ships or not. I don't know. I don't know if we can go back. I always choose in this book, like I said, it's a love letter, and not everything in the franchise is perfect to me, and not everything is serious. Some of it's very silly, and that's what it's supposed to be. But I don't fight the big battles. I fight the ones in front of me, and I think that's also what you can do in all ways of life too.
By example.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just be the change you want to see in the world.
Absolutely.
There's a very spiritual message.
Totally. And there's a quote from Phantom Menace, episode 1 from Qui-Gon Jinn: "Your focus determines your reality."
I was about to say that.
You were. I know. It was on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I approach
what
it.
film or what character, but boy, I was this far away from saying that. Another thing I want to ask about is the learning to re-enjoy the films, because on the one hand, we're not kids anymore, and as adults, you tend to get a little jaded and hung up on adulty stuff. But on the other hand, is there an argument to be made that the films aren't as good as they were, or are they simply, because we're adults, we're not as excited as we were when we were kids?
I think that's a large part of it there. You could go back if you're my age group when Return of the Jedi came out in 1983, that was the greatest movie ever made ever, right?
Because you were how old?
I was 7.
Well, there you go.
So as time goes on, you're like, well, those Ewoks, I think I can see their zippers. It's a kind of a repeat of the first one. And you start, that cynicism starts popping in.
Sure.
And I think it's important to go back to that childlike innocence. It does not mean you can't be critical. It does not mean you can't look at things. The Last Jedi, which is episode 8, is very controversial. It's my second favorite Star Wars film. Other people want to murder me in an alley because I have that opinion. And that's fair. That's their journey. But for me, it is about finding the little things you love in all the films and all the things. Because again, it's tremendously serious, but it's also a story of a giant talking dog and a furry dog and a princess with cinnamon buns in her hair. Like, it's silly.
Yeah.
It's silly. And on the internet, I do my Star Wars shows and you don't look at the comments, never look at the comments. But with Twitter, they find you, they come after you.
Isn't it amazing?
It's
Critics,
mind-boggling.
they're worse than herpes. They just show up. They're everywhere.
At least with herpes, it started fun.
I don't remember.
You know?
Very nice.
Yeah.
No, that was it. That beat the monologue. But what do you now? I know this attitude has permeated other things. You were talking earlier. We were talking about sports. You said you've also gotten a little jaded on professional sports.
Yeah.
What's happened in sports that bothers you?
For me, I'm a big baseball fan and football fan, but I'm talking like 10 years ago, I stopped. Some of it's just you grow up, right? If you got to worry about paying bills, you're not like, well, the Yankees are 3 games back today. Like, you're not worried about it as much. But I found myself getting tired of the speculation, the talk, the post-game shows, the pre-game shows, the articles, the sports radio. I was caught up in it, and it started to take away the joy I had of, man, I love this game. I love watching this game. And I started finding myself pulling out of it. And then I was kind of both. I was a nerd at first in the classic 80 sense of the term. Then I started playing sports and getting more. So I understand what you're saying of like, there's this pushback now against sports fans and they call it sports ball, it drives me crazy because it's the same thing, by the way. Darth Vader and Derek Jeter are both imaginary characters to me. I'm not going to be either of them. I'm rooting for these same people, these same things. So it's the same muscle. But I think it started with nerddom. It's just more about, it's still very celebratory. And I think it's easy to get lost online and say everything, it's a hate bubble. It's not. If you go to these conventions, Star Wars Celebration in Chicago was 5 days of thousands and thousands of people just having fun, celebrating something they love, and that's important. But I think it's just so easy to let all of that get in front of the simple joy you had of the first time you heard the crack of a bat, or the first time you were on a playground with your friends, you be Luke, I'll be Han, and go from there. I think we need to get back to that.
That's a good message. I think we ought to. And it is unfortunate because we get that way. We're just, sometimes I'll record things or I'll find them on Netflix. I'm in a hurry to watch them because I meant to watch them for a long time.
Right.
And I'm not enjoying it.
It's competitive.
Yeah. It's just, I got to get this in. I got 90 minutes. I got to get this in before I got to get out of here and hit the road, do something else. Before we go, one more thing.
Yeah.
So you says the great moments that built a galaxy far, far away. What is, and I'm not trying to start an argument, what is the best moment in any Star Wars movie ever?
Any Star Wars movie
scene,
ever.
Best moment, best reveal.
Yeah, they're out there. Trust me, they've got plastic lightsabers ready to beat me to death outside of Burbank
And
here.
we have a camera set up out there right now.
It's going to be a great bit.
What is the best moment in Star Wars ever?
My all-time favorite moment is in Return of the Jedi, which is the throne room sequence where Luke goes to face the Emperor and confront or save his father. And it's the true message what George was putting out there, that the great warrior, we learned this whole time, the Jedi were these warriors, these lightsabers wielding heroes of the galaxy, but he wins through compassion and he wins through sacrifice. He literally throws down his weapon and gives his life to redeem his father, who then decides to stand up and, I always say, throw his boss over the railing. That's the scene to me that is Star Wars at its core, and that's the one. It's not number 1 in the book, though. It's number 2.
Oh.
But as far as scenes,
now, why did you put that number 2? If you think that's the best scene?
I put number 1. I'll tell you right now. It is the moment before the opening logo hits the screen, and there's a complete beat of silence before John Williams' score kicks in. And I always say, no matter how much you maybe didn't like the last one or had problems with it, there's always new Star Wars in front of you, and that's a journey you're about to take, and you're about to possibly see something that will change your life, or you at least make your Sunday.
Cool. And this book is available everywhere. It's on the Amazon. It's available on your website?
Available at kennapzok.com. You
Ken-
go through there. It's available everywhere. And then audiobook version with me reading you to sleep is out now too.
Well, what's the point of a book otherwise if you're not reading it? Ken Napzok, everybody. Thanks for coming out, man.
Thank you.
Good times. And now I believe we're having is it time for the raffle? I think it's time for the raffle before we bring our musical guests up.
All right, let's. Dun, 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 dun,
Thank you.
dun. Setting up. Okay.
What's happening? Wait,
All right. Our.
wait a minute. Don't reveal yet until Enrique.
Oh
Enrique's
yes,
gonna
yes.
Drink. You know what? I want to fill some time with something though.
Okay.
Should we hear some of the jokes that did not make the monologue?
Yes.
Okay.
Rejected jokes.
It's a new segment we call Rejected Jokes. Oh, wait till you hear them.
Caveat,
Yeah.
disclaimer, these are student writers.
In a report from the New York Times, Triple Crown winning horse Justify failed a drug test before he won the Kentucky Derby. The allegations, of course, were denied by the horse's trainers, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.
Great joke,
Why didn't I put it in?
because a lot of people don't know who Roger is.
Oh, okay. So people still laugh, so. I did the Clemson joke, you're right. A recent study found in the United States, over 84% of donor kidneys are rejected at least once. But we're Americans. Even our kidneys don't take no for an answer. Thank you. Oh, here we go. This is disgusting. The Centers for Disease and Control and Prevention has issued a warning in regards to the spike in salmonella infections. Stop kissing and snuggling backyard chickens, especially without their consent. I think this joke was written in West Virginia. Oh, you want to hear an anti-Trump joke? All right, never mind. I only one. Okay. Oh, this was written. We have a writer who's a conservative, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But this isn't. I don't know if this tracks. Let's have a little joke lesson here. I'll say later. They're not in the room. At a recent, are we close here? Are we almost ready?
Yes, we're getting close. Yeah, we got Enrique sitting down.
Enrique, you got your drink?
I think,
So we good?
8 minutes back. Yeah.
Oh, so we're back. We're ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, screw this joke then. Should we have the
No,
raffle?
let's hear it.
Should we have the raffle or no? All right. At a recent rally, Bernie Sanders had to quiet a crying baby. Pundits said that Bernie related well to the baby, probably because the content of Bernie's platform and the contents of the baby's diaper were the exact same thing. And that just sounds like liberal bashing to me. I don't think his platform is crap.
Me neither.
Yeah, but even if you disagree with it,
But
it's not
it is
crap.
Very absorbent. Very nice.
What does that mean? What is that?
Baby's diaper.
But what about Bernie's? Is Bernie's platform
His
absorbent?
platform's very absorbent.
Yes.
Metaphor for we can receive it well.
You know, between our guest and this joke analysis, we've never done this before. This is a brand new segment going on the show. Are we ready? Or we one more? Okay. All right. We have a raffle winner. The winner of my book. I wrote a book. It's an award-winning book, and the person's name is what?
Is Carrie.
Carrie. Carrie, you won a book. I'll get it to you
Congratulations, Carrie.
after the show. Yes. And An autograph is $5,
Cash.
but I got to pay you.
Cash, Joe.
That's how
Cash.
that goes. All right, I think we're set. Ready? Yeah, we're set. Okay, we ready? We all ready? Ladies and gentlemen, on October 5th, up in Antelope Valley, we will have the Antelope Valley Ukulele Festival, which is going to feature several prominent and professional ukulele players. We are lucky enough to have two of them with us right now. Please welcome Heidi Swedberg and Daniel Ward. Take the thrones. Take the thrones, I insist. That was magnificent. That was adorbs. Stay right. You know what? Why don't you stay there? I'll take this chair. How's that? Yeah, aren't these nice chairs? These swell. Thanks for coming out. That was, I'm no music critic, but that was totes adorbs. Wasn't that sweet? That was wonderful. Just a little about your background. You are originally from New Mexico, correct? And you started in Hawaii, is that correct?
I was born in Hawaii and then moved to New Mexico.
And then you picked up the ukulele when you were very young, right?
I did. I got my first one when I was 5 from the Easter Bunny.
The Easter Bunny brought you a
In
ukulele.
Hawaii, that's what they do.
Oh, do they? Okay, because I'm trying to reimagine the Bible here. What part of the Bible is? I don't remember you.
It's the pagan thing.
Oh, okay.
Easter Bunny.
That shows you what I know. I have no idea. I just look
The
for things.
Hawaiians are pagan.
Okay, well then now it's starting to make sense. Okay. So you're 5, you pick up the ukulele at 5, and you take to it right away, of course.
Well, I sucked for a long time. I kind of still do, but
I know the feeling.
But I just always had one in my room. You know, I'd sing angsty teen songs when I was a kid.
Did you, wait. Did you play angsty teen songs on the ukulele?
Yeah.
You can do that?
You can.
Well, I mean, you can play notes on it, I guess, but it seems like such a happy instrument. I didn't know you could play angsty teen. Like, what kind of angsty teen songs would you play?
You know, I had a fondness for the Velvet Underground.
You played Velvet Underground. You covered Velvet Underground on a ukulele.
Of course.
That's amazing to me.
It's a fun instrument. You can do with it whatever you want.
It sounds quite versatile. I know you can, because I had a ukulele once and I traded it for a bottle of wine. I did. I was going to give it away, and my friend said, "Can I have it?" I said, "Yeah." And she said, here's some wine. I said, "Oh, that's fair." I think we both won, actually, the way I played ukulele. And then you, Daniel, you apparently can play a ton of things. Did I hear correctly that you started playing trumpet when you were like, that seems incredibly difficult for 4th grade, like at 8 or 9 years old then.
Professional.
But that's back when you had to grow, marching bands for the football team.
Oh, okay. Well, but still, am I wrong, or is that a very difficult instrument for a kid that size to
It's
play?
a lot of air. Yeah, you suck for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You blow for a long
Yeah, where you blow for a long time. It's like violin. You don't make a good sound for a long time.
You suck for a long time and you blow for a long time.
So,
Yeah.
Herpes.
Yeah. That's just like stand-up comedy. So, and then you switched around to a bunch of different instruments. How old were you when you first picked up the ukulele?
well, I started playing guitar when I was about 9th grade.
Okay.
And I didn't start ukulele until about 12 years ago, actually.
Really?
Yeah, she's responsible for me playing.
Yeah, blame her. Nice, Daniel. Sure.
I gave him his first one.
That's also adorable. Now,
Herpes. All night long. That's it. That's the joke of the night.
when in doubt,
Keep going.
just go to herpes.
Okay.
So, it's interesting to me that the ukulele is one of the later instruments you picked up, because it seems to be ukulele is usually something a musician picks up as a child, because for no other reason than the size of it, because a small person's hands can handle it better.
Right.
It just seems odd that you would pick it up at a later age like
My
that.
brothers were in a rock band growing up, and I had to play guitar.
Oh, sure, you had to.
But luckily, in college, I studied classical guitar, and it's a nylon string instrument. It feels almost exactly like a ukulele. And once I started really putting music onto 4 strings instead of 6, you actually end up having to be pretty careful about how it goes down, and you spend a lot of time making music with the instrument.
Well, now, Hank, you said something interesting there. You said a nylon string instrument.
Yes.
Now, how is that? It seems to be a string is a string. Why would a nylon string instrument? Is it harder or easier than a?
Steel string guitars are kind of twangy sounding usually. You think of them as country music or bluegrass kind of stuff.
Right.
Classical guitars, bossa nova, they have the softer nylon tones to them, and they're different to play. A lot of times you play the pick on a steel string guitar and make a lot of noise, and these have a sweeter tone. So I'm
Wow.
used to the nylon string too.
And was that something resembling flamenco that you just played right there?
Oh, yeah, maybe not Spanish.
Okay, yeah, I guess you can merge styles onto different instruments. Now, you two met in college, is that correct? In New Mexico, and yet you didn't play ukulele. That you did, but you didn't. When did you decide? When did you finally decide we're going to play ukulele together?
No.
No. So I finished my music degree.
Mhm.
Heidi went on and did some acting. We accidentally got married to other people for about 20 years.
Don't you hate when that happens? How was your weekend? I accidentally married the wrong person. That's a bite. Anyway, so
And we found each other after some time.
Hmm.
And was quite enthralled with the idea.
Oh.
And she was playing ukulele, and one of the things that brought us back together, you were doing an album, and I ended up being the engineer for that.
I have never heard of ukulele bringing a couple together. This story just gets more and more adorable.
Bringing the whole world
take out the herpes, it would be perfect. Now, this is something that fascinates me about how musicians gel as a duo, because it seems to me, in my very, very limited understanding of music, it seems to me that if any two people who know how to play an instrument, if you know how to read the music, if you know how to hit the notes and the melody and the harmony, it seems to me any two people could play together. And yet some duos work better together than other duos. Can you explain in simpler terms how it is that you two play well together?
I think there's a lot of chemistry involved. It's just like a comedy duo. I mean, two funny people do not necessarily go well together.
Believe me, I know that. In my case, one funny person doesn't go well together.
So I think there's chemistry, and then there's also that we complement one another's skill set. Daniel is a really brilliant musician, and I'm amusing.
Now, is there?
And that makes things fun.
So when you two do concerts, when you do longer sets, do you do the banter part, and is he the straight man and sets them up for you, or?
No, he's really good at that too. He's good at everything.
We pick music we like, and then we figure out with the skills that we have how it's going to sound the best.
It's as simple as that to
A
you.
lack of ego is really good for letting music come through.
I'm sure.
So if you're trying too hard, usually it's going to feel to the audience that you're trying too hard. If
Now-
you're enjoying yourself, then it's going to sound good, not just to us, but to everybody else.
Are these things that you've noticed? Because I'm sure you've played duets and with groups with other people. Have you noticed that with other people you've played with, going, there's too much ego with this person, or this person's incompetent, or whatever?
It's almost like getting on an airplane with somebody and traveling. You know about in the first 2 hours if it's going to be a good time or not. You go to Europe with somebody.
2 hours. Yeah, I found that on flights that are 1 hour long, as a matter of fact. So you've been playing all over the place. You play at concerts all over the country and other countries, maybe. Do you have any wacky stories? There's got to be a wacky story. Do you have like groupies or something? Some weird fan who follows you around? Somebody who jumped on the stage and tried to rush the stage? You're looking at each other. There's got to be a story.
The ukulele people actually, there are old guys who are like ukulele fans who drive around and go to all the concerts.
Really?
They're really sweet.
That's nice.
Generally, people who are into ukulele and go to the festivals are retired people who've always wanted to make music. So the festivals, you do more teaching than you do performing. So we teach classes all day long, and then we'll perform at night. And a lot of times we teach the same people over and over. Sometimes actually I've had people come to my class, the same class, and because some of them are older, they don't remember that they were there. So it's really sweet. And your material never gets old when you're dealing with people with memory loss.
That's an important tip.
Fabulous.
I will start playing convalescent homes now. That's a very important tip. Well, that is nice because you don't have to worry about people moshing in the front and slamming into each other and busting skulls. And I imagine the ukulele culture. It's not like the heavy metal culture. I'm guessing there aren't a lot of heroin users in the ukulele world. Good. That you've met. Because when you think of like destructive musicians, we think of people like Charlie Parker and Sid Vicious and people like that. But I imagine that element doesn't exist at all in the ukulele world.
Some performers have gotten themselves into serious situations, Tiny Tim, heart trouble. A lot of drugs and stuff, but people who are genuinely giving workshops and traveling around like that.
Good, that's nice.
We can't afford those
We
kind
can't
of
afford
trouble.
those kind of trouble.
Sure.
It's just a matter of practicality. The pragmatic ukulele player cannot afford a drug habit. So
What's really nice about the ukulele though is the like I said, it tends to be older people, and it also tends to be a bunch of people who are very idealistic and very giving, very community oriented. So the Antelope Valley Festival that we're going to be doing in a couple of weeks, the festival itself is basically a fundraiser to support an instruments in the school program. And they have a great club, they have a great community, and people come out to it to play, to have fun, but also to support the public school ukulele program.
Well, that's a good thing.
Really love
Nice.
it. Yeah.
And one more question I forgot to ask a moment ago. And when you've played in these large groups and people will come to your concerts and play along, what's the largest group of ukulele players you've ever played with? I mean, of course, most of them not on stage, obviously. They're in the seats playing along. How many people are we talking who actually played along at the same time?
I think we had upwards of 600 down by Little Tokyo.
600.
Yeah.
And they were all playing along at the same time. And
Sure.
was it working? Was it cacophony, or did it actually?
No, it worked.
It worked.
Yeah, you can have, I think even more people at the Festival of Great Britain were there for the big play along on the green.
Yeah.
Over 1,000
That was
people.
huge. That was huge.
Yeah,
Wow.
but you know, you take something like Roman Sunshine, and everybody knows the chords and the words, and you sing it in a big group. It works.
It's adorable.
You know, and, you know, if you make a mistake, like you said, it's kind of like starting on a football field. No one's gonna know if you played a wrong chord when there's 1,000 people playing the play.
It's like herpes at a whorehouse. Who's gonna know? All right, you want to close it out with one more for us?
Love to.
Thank you so much. Heidi Swedberg and Daniel Ward, everyone.
All right.
Nice. Heidi Swedberg and Daniel Ward, everybody. How about that? The Antelope Valley Ukulele Festival is on Saturday, October 5th in Palmdale. Is that correct? At the, what are the grounds again? What is the locale in Palmdale?
It's a brand new place. Last year was Lancaster University.
We don't know.
We don't know. So the best thing is, if you want to go, you'll have to look up in Palmdale.
Look them up and maybe give them a ride because they don't know.
We're doing another event at McCabe's in Santa Monica.
Oh, okay, yeah, McCabe's. I know that place. Where else, and where can people find your schedule of where else you'll be performing?
You can go to danielward.net.
Danielward.net.
To find materials, recordings, and
Marvelous. And stick around and say hello to him afterwards. Thank you for coming out here. Thank you to Ken Knapsack, Why We Love Star Wars, available everywhere they sell books. Thanks to Jerry, the guy who does everything except make drinks, but he does drink the drinks. Speaking of drinks, thanks to Deanna and Phyllis getting us all liquored up. Much appreciated. Thanks to Jan Williams. Thanks to Cindy for being corralled into cue card duty tonight. And thanks to all of you for coming out here tonight. And all of you watching on TV and the YouTube in Romania, don't write nasty things. No nasty comments on the YouTube, okay? Good night. Herpes!
well, say hello to Jim for us. Yeah, he knows this well.
Yeah.